So I was quite hesitant to speak about this because it gets rather personal, but it seems that I have no other choice. Because most teachers are still very deluded about the creation of this universe. They still think that this is somehow divine creation, and one way or another justifying the ways of this dream. And I've come to the conclusion that it's really because they haven't suffered enough in this lifetime. And most of them I have followed somewhat closely and heard about their biography, and really it's very different from mine. It's true, some of them do have experienced suffering, but it's not to the same degree that I have, nor some of the people I've come across on this path. So there is actually a strong link between chronic depression and Christ's mind, and that's the reason most teachers do not understand this reality, because they have lived a relatively comfortable life. Again, they have suffered, but just not enough to understand this reality. So what I mean is to go through such things as such desperate situations and long periods of your life, in fact, perhaps all of your life, where you are persecuted. And even now, as I'm speaking, I may have to delete this video at some point because it's not totally safe for me to come out and talk about this. So consider that if you are already a public figure as some kind of teacher or artist or whatever, public figure, you actually have a lot of privilege in this life that some of us do not have. I actually do not have the privilege at this point in my life to be a public figure. Nor do I really want to, but I'm saying that's not even a choice for me. So consider that if you're a public figure and able to influence masses of people, you have been in a privileged position. Your family or friends or people around you have not been actively persecuting you, but this is not the case for everyone. Not everyone can tell their truth openly. So consider that the sample size is already biased towards people who are able to speak up openly. And this is not to, put the focus on me, but to let you know that some of the worst cases in this world are generally not heard about. It's shut away from the public eye. And that's why some of these teachers still think this is somehow divine creation. I mean, but if you've lived my life, that'd be a slap in the face to hear that. So that's why I have to at least talk a little bit about my personal life, in a general manner, as well as perhaps some that I've come across. So most of my life is really an escape from hell. My own family are truly demonic. They've gotten a little bit better now because I have been working around them, but most of my life I have been trapped, and there was no help for me because I was an immigrant family, and there was no relatives here, and I was forbidden to speak about the things that happen in my household. And so I was forced to be in that situation of chronic abuse and violence, and I couldn't get out. Even now, I have to be careful around them. And so I've lived a very precarious life, and I really was on my own. There was literally nobody that could help me. So how many people have truly been in that situation? And not only that, when you try to seek help, it's like you get abused all over again. People take advantage of the fact that you are in a less well-off position, and they try to, again, do the same things. And I've experienced this over and over and over in my life. There's not one person who could listen to me. So that's why when a teacher tells me this is divine appointment, it's really a slap in the face, because I barely got out. And I've known people in spiritual communities who have been in or are still in this kind of situation. And these are people who are close to where I'm at in terms of level of consciousness. And so the reason some of you and those teachers are not seeing that this is a miscreation is because they haven't encountered this in their life, where for decades they are persecuted. So You could say the crucifixion already happened to me. I am barely getting out of it right now. It's, the fact that I can film this means my life is getting better, but I'm not totally out of the woods. And so, to the people who think this is divine creation, you're not looking closely at people's suffering. And I want you to seek out, people who are truly in desperate situations and have no help, and listen to their stories. Because that might give you a better understanding of how this reality was created than what you're currently experiencing. Because from my perspective, there's a huge hole in your understanding that cannot be filled unless you talk to these people who are not in a privileged position and do not live a relatively comfortable life. And so that's really how you understand the ego mind. So most of the spiritual teachers, they're surrounded by relatively awake people who worship them, and they might get a few dings here and there, but it's generally mild. Their life is generally not under threat on a constant basis, or they're not allowed to speak. So just the fact that you're allowed to speak, unfortunately that is not something everyone has access to. So I cannot even go into details about any of this, but I just thought I needed to share that the reason it's very clear to me this universe is a miscreation is because of the life I live, and the lives I've heard from others who experience similar things.